Asylum seeker who was rescued from a sinking boat as a 7-year-old has won a scholarship to study in New York. Abbas Nazari was one of more than 400 refugees caught up in an international standoff in 2001 when their boat, the Tampa, foundered in Australian waters and was refused permission to come to land. Many of those asylum seekers were settled in New Zealand. Abbas Nazari has won a prestigious Fullbright scholarship. He's in our Wellington studio. Good morning.
Morning.
You must be very excited. What does this scholarship mean?
Yeah, super excited. So I'll be doing a Masters of International Relations at Columbia University in New York. So the Fullbright Scholarship is, open to everyone. Applications are currently due 1 August, if anyone's interested. And it allows you to obviously go to study at college in the US and see where it goes from there.
And how is it important for you and your family, given your background? There seems to be no stopping you at the moment.
I mean, it's huge for me on a personal, on an individual level, because it is quite the achievement. But also, like I said in my application, me being given the opportunity to study at higher education is actually lifting up the entire refugee or Afghan community. Because me being able to go and study at the highest level, hopefully the younger kids who are coming through can be like, actually, he can do it, so I can too.
What do you know what you want to study?
So it's a Master of International Relations. The beauty about the college program in the US is that it's quite broad, so you'll be given access to a whole heap of different programs, but particularly interested in security studies, yeah.
And how do you feel about going to America at this particular time in the world? I mean, we're just about literally heading into a period where Donald Trump's going to be removing illegal migrants. There's a lot of, let's say, debate.
Well, actually, I think it's all the more reason to be on the ground and actually see some of the debate that's happening, because it's such a huge political spectrum over there. So to be exposed to that, I think will actually be more enriching at an academic level at least.
And you want to come back to New Zealand and get into that field as well?
Definitely have to come back to New Zealand as part of the scholarship, but also obviously New Zealand is home, so I intend on coming back. But long term, I have no idea what we're going to get myself into.
How do you feel about the refugee community in New Zealand? We have increased our quota marginally, some would argue. Mm-hmm. Is there enough? Should New Zealand be doing more?
I think the debate or the talk generally around refugees is whether enough is being done or not enough is being done. But I think from a personal perspective, we were given a chance to resettle in New Zealand and opportunity at a better life. And that by far since 2001, 18 odd years that we've been living in New Zealand has been fantastic. My experiences here have been awesome. I've been given every opportunity. I've had every support along the way to do it. And to be given that opportunity, I think, is both a blessing and also a responsibility, because it means now I do have to try and do my best.
Does that burden get quite heavy sometimes?
A little bit, but to be honest, I do thrive in it. I think it's great, for lack of a better word.
Do you think that a refugee arriving in New Zealand today has that same opportunity that you had when you arrived?
I'd like to think so. Much of the debate around refugees, and this is something I really want to get across quite strongly, is that there is such a huge spectrum of people coming to New Zealand as refugees, as migrants, ethnic backgrounds or whatnot, and it's all well and good to actually, to pick and choose your refugees and say, look at him, he was given the chance and now he's got a Fullbright scholarship, or look at him representing New Zealand on the international level at sports, academia, culture, whatever. But because of that spectrum, there's people on the other end who do have those mental health issues, who have their financial hardships, been in a war zone, exactly. So the debate around refugees is always like, look at how high achieving they are. And on a personal level, that's great, but I don't want the debate to be like every refugee is all high achievers. We have to celebrate that there's a spectrum of people, from all sorts of backgrounds. So we can't, willy-nilly pick and choose who we get to celebrate, because the refugee community is so diverse. The large majority of people, and I'm speaking for the Afghan community in general, and particularly the people off the Tampa, came to New Zealand, 6-week orientation at Mangere, then redistributed around New Zealand through Housing New Zealand homes, and then over time in the years since, all of them going to school, going to university, getting a trade. I mean, my own Afghan community in Christchurch, I mean, they're doing fantastically well in the trades because of in the Canterbury rebuild. All of them, just setting up life in Middle New Zealand, and it's a fantastic story. And I think that's where the talk should be, rather than at the ends of the spectrum with like, look how amazing this guy is doing, and look at that, little, whatever.
Sure.
On the other end.
Just finally, before we go, I'll ask you one political question about the refugee policy, which has come in for criticism, which excludes people from Middle East African backgrounds if they have existing family connections. What do you make of that policy? Is it time to change that one?
I think definitely, yeah. And I understand that it's under review, so hopefully we'll hear something soon.
Do you consider it a racist policy?
I'm not sure what the background was to why that particular point was put across just African and Middle Easterners. I mean, there's broad, whatever wording they used, but I think that this government will hopefully review that.
Abbas Nazari, thank you very much for your time and congratulations on your award. Much appreciated for coming in. It is 11 minutes to 9.
National is weighing into Auckland Council politics with the launch of a website asking Auckland...